Just wave. You don't offend me. I don't have feelings. No worries about my feelings. Just wave and I will slow down, okay? And so I'm going to try to make it very practical. Therefore, if you have questions, feel free to ask, okay? Okay? Raise your hand, ask any question you have. So, I was 6 and she was 3. She was 3 years old. I hope you hear what I said. She was 3 years old. I put my eyes on her, and I put my eyes on her until now. Literally, she was 3 and I was 6. I saw her coming to church, and I said to my sister, I'm going to marry that girl. And my sister said, you don't know what you talk. You don't know what love is. You are going to change your mind 1,000 times. You'll have 100 girlfriends. You have no clue. I said, you don't know me. And so then she would come to church with her sister hand in hand, and I kept my eyes on her. And then I was in 5th grade and she was 3 years younger. She was in 2nd grade. I kept my eyes on her. And then I was in 7th grade. I started to sing in the choir. And then in 9th grade, she started to sing in the choir. And I was at the tenor and she was at the alto. Instead of listening to the sermon, my head was like, my mouth opened as when you go to the dentist. Everybody, hey man, look to the pastor. I said, huh? Okay. I said, wow. And I would watch her and watch her eyes and close my eyes and try to picture her eyes in my mind. And I would open my eyes and see her cheeks and close my eyes and try to picture her cheeks. Then open my eyes and see her lips and close my eyes and try to picture her lips, and so on and so forth, until I would be able to go home and close my eyes and see her. And then I am no poet, trust me. You don't want to hear my poetry. It's not good. But I got to the point to even write poetry, love would do that to you, I would write poetry. And then I told her, I want us to get married. She said, what? You don't even know me. I said, you think so? I think I know you more than you know. And I prepared a white Ralph Lauren handkerchief, sprayed it with Giorgio Armani, and kept it only for her, never used it, because girls are emotional. Every once in a while they cry, and if you watch, you can be right there. And I noticed when she cried, and I gave her the handkerchief, and she cleaned her eyes, and she says, wow, it smells good. In my mind, duh, it's for you. But anyway, I kept watching her and talking to her, and then invited her to take a walk. We went in the park, took a walk, and then I learned what she likes, what she doesn't. When she would go to school, she lived in the same neighborhood, a few buildings away from my building, and we went to the same school. It was a half an hour walk. We didn't have cars. And so she started school 1 hour later than me. Guess what? I always missed the first class. I could not care less about the class. I went to school when she went to school. I went close to her building and watched until she got out. When she got out, it happened that I passed by. I said, wow, you go to school at 9 a.m. Me too. Let's walk together. We walked together. And then I finished school 1 hour later. But guess what? I could not care less. I missed the last class. And when she went home, I went home. Wow, you go home. Let's walk together. You like ice cream? Me too. Let's buy ice cream. We got ice cream together. Always together. Now, you may call it stalking. I call it extreme love. But I don't care how you call it. I kept watching her and talking and praying, and eventually we got together, and eventually we got married, and we have been married for 31 years. And I am absolutely handicapped. without her. I cannot breathe, I cannot eat, I cannot sleep, I cannot even dress myself if she is not there. If I go somewhere alone, I have to call her and we speak in the night until we fall asleep, speaking, and we talk everything, good and bad. There is nothing that we don't talk together. We know each other really well. Basically, if we have visitors, she doesn't have to say it. She just looks at me and I know what she wants. For instance, we moved in a new district in Wisconsin, and we were out of school from Andrews, and we were totally poor. I mean, we had nothing. We got into that apartment, and we had no furniture. We slept on the floor, literally on a blanket on the floor. We had nothing. And eventually, we bought a house and furniture. And I am too poor to afford cheap stuff, People, when you are poor and buy cheap stuff, that's a mistake because it's going to last very little and then you have to buy again. So I don't buy too cheap and too expensive. I buy at the border where you find quality. And so I didn't buy cheap stuff, I didn't buy expensive stuff, but I bought something that is quality. So we paid for the furniture a good amount of money. And we put the furniture in the house Thursday night. New couch, new whatever. Wow, nice. Our first house, first furniture. Friday night, we invited the church members to come over. The church members came over, and it was raining. And the children, uneducated, unpolite, rude, started to jump with their shoes full of mud on my new couch, one-day-old couch. That's outrageous. That's ridiculous. I mean, don't you see your kids? Spank them, do something, But the parents could not care less, about the kids. The kids could do whatever, When I get angry, my ears turn instantly red, absolutely red. My wife knows that. She noticed my ears red. And she says, honey, come in the kitchen. I said, no. She says, come in the kitchen. I said, okay. I go in the kitchen. People thought she needs help. She says, you need to calm down. They ruined my furniture. She says, do you love furniture or people? I love people. Okay, then calm down. They ruined my furniture. She says, what do you want to take to heaven, furniture or people? But there is no connection. She says, oh, there is a big connection. And so she says, you need to go in the backyard, in the garden, and pray until you learn to love people, not furniture. And then come back. I didn't like her too much in that moment. But nevertheless, I did go in the backyard and prayed and came back. I had some stomach pain. I was still frustrated, but I put a nice smile on my face, and I ignored and let the children jump on my new couch. And then after they left, I had to really brush it and clean it and make it pretty and nice and shiny, and I liked it, Anyway, next week, one of the mothers comes to me and says, Pastor, I cannot believe it. No pastor before invited us in his house, fed us good food, prayed with us. And all the pastors, while they didn't care for us, they never invited us over, they rebuked our children. I'm a single mom. My husband left me. I know that my son is spoiled. But really, sometimes I struggle because I don't know what to do first, and I don't know how to correct him in love. And she says, you are the first pastor that are so patient and love our kids as they are. In my mind, yep, if you knew. You better talk to my wife, not to me. And she said, because of that, we love you and trust you, and I have a feeling that we will do a good job together. And so, folks, I start this way, saying, we say that we love Jesus and we love people. But really, do we love Jesus and do we love people? Because as I talk to you about my wife, do you have this type of love for Jesus that you keep your eyes on him and you stalk him and you don't let him go and you don't feel good and you don't eat and you don't sleep and you cannot even dress yourself without him? And you say, oh, how I love Jesus. That's baloney. Really? It's nice to tell yourself that you love Jesus, to calm your conscience and then do whatever. If you love Jesus, you need to love him at least the way you love your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, dad, children, whatever, as I loved my wife, I kept my eyes on her. I had dreams with her. I would dream with her every night. I would dream that we will be together, Do you have dreams with Jesus? Do you wake up in the middle of the night because you dreamed of him and you cannot stay without him and you just miss him? If you don't really, do you love Jesus? Ask yourself. No? Am I right? How do you know that you love him? I mean, it's easy to say it. I would write poetry for her. And we would meet in the park. And I want you to tell her the poetry. And I would see her and open my mouth and forget even my name. I was like, wow. And I was shocked, blocked, stunned, just looking at her. And she would say, are you okay? And I would just say, uh-huh. Why don't you talk? I would even forget the words in her presence. Do you go in God's presence and forget your words? And write poetry and dream of him and you want to be with him? If not, all you say about Jesus is just pretense, fake. We are not better than anybody else. If you don't love Jesus that way, that's not love. Not trying to offend you or to anything. I don't even know you. You may love Jesus, really, indeed love Jesus. But my question is your love so genuine that you dream of him? That you cannot live without, you cannot breathe, you cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you just need him every moment. Think about David. Let's give you an example. David, for 10 years, was running from King Saul, hiding in the wilderness of Judea. Anybody has ever been in the wilderness of Judea? Anybody? I've been there. You know what is there? Nothing. Those Palestinians and Israelis, I don't know what is wrong with them. They fight for nothing. I will not fight for that land for anything in the world. I don't need it. Basically, when the bus stopped, I got off the bus, and as far as you could see, it was just desert. Rocks and sand and mountains with caves, nothing. Not grass, no flowers, no trees, nothing. Literally nothing. Hot. No clouds, no wind, so hot. It was 126 Fahrenheit. Can you even imagine? I mean, if you take an egg and put it in the sand, in less than 1 minute it would be boiled. It was so hot that you could not stay outside more than 10 minutes. You would just, wow, I die, you know? And so I wanted to step into the wilderness to take a walk. And as I step off the road, the bus driver says, no! I said, what? Do you have a heart attack? Are you crazy? Why do you scream that? Why? You scared me. He says, don't step. I said, why? He took a rock and he threw it. As soon as he threw the rock in the desert, scorpions came out from the sand. Scorpions. Snakes and scorpions. Can you even imagine that? Why those people fight for that land? I don't know. But anyway, so David was in that wilderness with 300 soldiers, their wives and their children, roughly 1,200 people. 300 soldiers, their wives, their children, his wives, 2 of them, children, everybody, and he had to feed them and to give them water and to protect them every day for 10 years. Now I want you to think with honesty. Close your eyes, put yourself in David's shoes. You are in the wilderness of Judea, you have 1,000 people to feed, and you are followed by the king's army to kill you. And you have to protect them. What would you pray for? Well, I tell you what you pray for. Because today, when you pray, you say, help me in the exam, help me with my health, help me with this. You always, you ask. You follow me? What would you pray for if you are David? Lord, protect me and my people. Am I right? Feed us, give us food, give us water, do justice against this evil king. You follow me? Now you go to Psalm 63. In Psalm 63, the title says, a psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judea running from King Saul. A psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judea running from King Saul. And read the psalm, read his prayer, and see what he's asking for. All that psalm, all that long chapter, there is not one request. There is not even one, help me, bless me, protect me, give me. There is not even one. There is no me. It's all, I've seen you in your sanctuary. Your love is better than life. Your presence is better than the greatest foods. I don't even need food in your presence. Yes, I am in the wilderness, but you know what? When I have you, I don't need to eat. I forget about food. When I see you, you are beautiful. You are wonderful. I love you. I don't need water. I don't need anything. I want you. I want you more than life. I want you more than food. I want you more than anything. Please, I want you. Do you pray that type of prayer? Or you say, Lord, yeah, I have this problem, but you know what? When I have you, the problem disappears. Somehow I forget about the problem. Somehow it just dims away. In your presence, I forget that I go through this struggle with my whatever and school and what, I don't know, parents or I don't know. Do you have that type of love that in God's presence you forget self totally? Let's suppose, God forbid, you have cancer. And you go to prayer, and instead of saying, Lord, heal me, when you are in God's presence, you forget that you are sick. And you say, Lord, wow. I want you to say something, I just don't remember what. When I see you, I forget even my name. I forget everything. I love you. I want to be with you. That's love. And do you have that type of love for people to the point that you invest in people and forget self? Do you follow me? You invest for people and forget self. Pray for people and forget praying for you. That's Christ's character. Anything else is just a theory of religion. Now imagine if we did that, how would life be? Do you follow me? Well, let me give you an example of forgetting self. I am not saying that I am good. I am not good. You need to live with me and know then that it's difficult. I don't know how my wife can live with me because I am picky. Everything has to be perfect and it's crazy. Anyway, I was in school, in university in Romania. Now in school there, it's not like here or like in America. In school there, you just don't get the school paid tuition and you get accepted. To get accepted in a university, you need to pass 3 days exam. First day, 8 hours. Second day, 8 hours. Third day, 8 hours. First day, 8 hours of mathematics. And you do 2 hours physics, 2 hours geometry, 2 hours trigonometry, 2 hours algebra, and 2 hours calculus. 8 hours. Next day, 8 hours physics, 2 hours mechanic physics, 2 hours static physics, 2 hours electronical physics, and 2 hours nuclear physics. And next day, you do 8 hours languages, and you 2 hours dictation, 2 hour composition, 2 hours grammar, and you follow me? And you have 3 days, 8 hours each day of exams. And they have limited number of openings or seats. They call them seats. And in that university, where I went to construction university, there were 980, close to 1,000 students competing for 10 seats, 10 openings. So basically, it really didn't matter if you got an A. If you got a 3.98 and there were 10 people that got 3.99, you're out because there were only 10 openings and the top 10 got in, the others out. And so students would take tutoring and learn and pay and learn and pay for 3, 4, 5 years and try every year, and they would be rejected, and finally they would get in. Wow, I was accepted in university. That was a big deal. You follow me? Okay, I went to the university and I got the 4th one among top 10. I was accepted. I was the 4th one. Can you imagine that? I go and see, wow, I am in. And then I don't go. They had school on Sabbath. So I don't go to school. And it was communism. And so during communism, I don't go to school one Sabbath. I don't go second Sabbath. They call me. And they say, listen, in this country, there is no God. We are communists. If you steal, we can forgive you. If you lie, we can forgive you. If you are sick, we excuse you. If you do something stupid, a big mistake, we'll work it out together. But when you believe in God, there is no way around. We will punish you that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And they said, first Saturday that you miss school, you will be expelled without any right to register in any school for the rest of your life. That will be the end of your education forever. Now I want you to imagine, you get accepted. in one of the best universities in Bucharest that is famous worldwide. In that university where I took school, in that university, they invented the formulas for concrete that are used anywhere in the world. America, Japan, doesn't matter. Concrete, all the formulas that people do when they do major constructions, they follow that school. Now, I got accepted the fourth one, and they tell me that I will be expelled without any right to register in any school for the rest of my life in the whole country. Now I ask you, what would you do? Would you go to school on Sabbath? The secretary of the school, Mrs. Radu, said to me, hey, don't be fanatical. You religious people, you are so extreme. You can come to school. You don't have to work. You can sit down and worship in your mind. Let me ask you, is that okay? Yes or no? No? Yes or no? No? Yes or no? Why not? I need an explanation. Why not? Principles. Why not? Call it differently. What is that when you go to school but you say you pray in your mind? What is that? It's compromise. You know, if you compromise a little today, a little tomorrow, soon enough, you just keep going down. There is nothing wrong, nothing good anymore. All is gray. Anyway, so, like the three young men, they could have said, oh, we just bow down to tie our shoelaces and we don't worship the image. Compromise. You follow me? Well, I prayed about it, as we do when we have trouble, and then I tried to solve it myself, as we do when we go through challenges. So I went to the school and talked to the secretary and said, can I do something to solve it? She said, nope. So I went to the dean. I talked to the dean. I said, can I do something to solve it? He said, get out. We don't believe in God. He said, if you don't come this Saturday to school, you are out. He kicked me out. I got out. I went home. And you know what I did? I prayed the whole night. Lord, please, 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 please save my education. Please save my education. Was that a good prayer or a bad prayer? Huh? Oh, come on. Answer. You don't get a grade. Good or bad, just answer. Normal prayer, good prayer. Okay, both wrong. That's okay. You don't get a grade. Prayer should focus on God, not on self. That's a tough thing to do when you pray. Because when we pray, we focus on self. And so I prayed and prayed, Lord, please, please save my education, my school, my future, please, please. And you know what God said? Nothing. He didn't answer my prayer. I was like praying alone, talking to the ceiling, talking to the walls. No answer. So I called my dad. I said, listen, I'm losing my education. What should I do? My father said, pray. I said, I did. And nothing happened. And my father said, what do you pray for? That God will save my education. And my father says, wrong prayer. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, what should you pray for? I said, education. And my father said to me, listen, do you love Jesus? I said, yes. He said, really? Yes. With all your heart? Yes. More than anything else? Yes. Okay, then you know what to do. I said, what do you mean? He says again, what is the issue? Education. What about education? They want me to go to school on Sabbath. Okay. What do you pray? That God would save my education. Okay. Do you love Jesus? Yes. More than anything? Yes. Then what's the problem? I said, education. Okay, let me ask you again. Do you love Jesus or education? I love Jesus. More than education, more than anything? Yes. Then what's the problem? Do you understand? I kind of started to get it and I didn't like it. I said, yeah, you don't care. You just preach to me. Leave me alone. Then I called him back. I said, listen, I am praying and I get no answer. He says, well, son, I don't have a better answer for you. I'm going to give you the same answer. Stop focusing on self or on education. You need to choose. You love God or you love your education. You love God or you love your job. You love God or you cannot love both. Do you follow? You cannot love both. You may think that you love God, but you actually love education. And I said, what do you want me to pray? And my dad said, listen, Did it ever cross your mind that God cares for your education more than you care for your education? And God can actually take care of that problem, but should not be your concern. Your call is to put God first. His job is to take care of you. Your job is to put Him first. His job is to provide. Did you hear? And my father said, whenever you struggle to solve your problems and to provide, you try to be God because you try to do His job. Like He's incompetent, He's unable, He's impotent, He cannot do it, so you have to help Him. Who do you think you are? God doesn't need your help. Do your job. Focus on God. Put God first. Make Him a priority. Seek Him first. And let Him do His job. So, but what if He doesn't solve the problem? Son, your problem is not losing your education. Your problem is that you don't know God. Did you hear? He said, your problem is not that you lose your education. Your real problem is that you don't know your God. I said, oh no, I know God. He said, well, yeah, you do know a theory of God, but you really don't know Him. You have never experienced Him. And my father said to me, ignore education, give it up, lose it. Just ignore it, lose it. And go to prayer and say, Lord, I'm going to give up education for you because I love you more. However, I really want to serve you. Therefore, do with my education whatever would serve you. I give my education and my future to you. If it's useful for your work, for your honor, that I finish this school, solve the problem and let me finish school. But if it's useful for your honor and for your work that I lose school, help me lose the school. I said to my dad, I don't know if I can pray that. He said, well, then you don't really love Jesus. Do you understand how he asked me to pray? If it's for your purpose, for your honor, for your work, for your plan, saving people or whatever, that I lose my education, help me lose the education. However, if it's in your favor, in your advantage, for your honor, for your plan, that you save my education, help me stay in school. And then my dad said, this is what should be your concern. These people around you are communists. They don't know God. Instead of praying that God would save your education, pray that God would use you and this story to help them know God. Do you follow me? Take your eyes off you. Take your eyes off your problem. Put your eyes on God, His plan, His honor, His work, His purpose, and forget you. Then you love God more than you love self. Do you follow me? I said, Dad, that's kind of difficult. He said, well, you need to make a choice. You cannot serve both. You need to either serve God or serve self. And he said, I got to give you the bad news. When you serve self, you actually serve Satan. He was not going around. He was just straightforward. I didn't like him much. And then he said, son, I will pray for you. And I said, what would you do if you were me? And he says, I did it when it was my turn. Now it's your turn. Make a decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Bye. And he hung up on me. He hung up on me. Oh, I didn't like him much. So I went to prayer and I tried to do what he said. I really struggled. I said, Lord, I am willing to lose my education, but in my heart, not willing, Help me be willing to lose my education. And then I said, Lord, really help me to love you more than I love my education and my school, and help me to represent you properly so these communist people, that they don't know God, would have a chance to know you through me. And do with my education whatever you want, whatever would serve you, and help me forget it. Now let me tell you something. It was hard to pray that prayer. Really hard. But in the moment I prayed that prayer, in that moment, in that instant, I sensed God's presence like never before in my life. I sensed God's presence so strong that I got goosebumps on me, and I was afraid to open my eyes. I was afraid that if I open my eyes, I see Him and I die. Literally, I was like, I sensed him around me right there. And instead of praying, I was afraid to open my mouth, and I just kept quiet. And I said just a few words. I said, you know everything. What should I say? You are here. And I kept quiet. And I got peace somehow. I got like, I didn't worry for school. I didn't worry for education. I basically had absolute peace. Then I got up from the prayer, and for some reason I started to sing. It's a song in Romanian. It says, Cel ce în Tatăl se încrede. It means the one that trusts in the Lord. The melody is pa 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 pam pa 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 pam. That's the melody. It says the one that trusts in the Lord, he will never see any trials, because God will deal with it. And so I had peace. I started to sing, and I sensed God right there. Then I went to school. And it was Thursday. I had Thursday and Friday, 2 more days, and I would be out forever. I went to school, and I met the secretary. And she says, Goia, please come Saturday. Please, you are one of the straight A best students. Don't lose your education forever. God doesn't require you to lose your, just come. I said, lady, there are 3 young men. And you're supposed to burn in the fiery furnace. And they said, if God wants to save us, he's able to save us. If not, we will not compromise. We are going to burn. But we will not compromise, because God comes first. And the lady said, you are stupid. She said, there is no God. Nobody has seen him. He is unable to help you. And then she said, quote, no God can save you from a communist government. They have the power. They can kill you, and they are not responsible for it. There is no court. There is no justice. They can do whatever. Like in North Korea, like in Cuba, they do whatever. No God can save you. I said, lady, you don't know my God. If he wants to save me, communist government is nothing. He can save me. And she says, I want to see that type of God. I said, well, don't say it twice. She said, you lost your mind, you Christians. I said, no, you just don't know him. I feel sorry for you. And then I had peace. I went to school. It was Thursday. Friday, I go to school. I meet her again. She comes to me, and she is like the flag, the Romanian flag, red, yellow, blue. She is pale. And I say to her, are you sick? She says, oh. I say, what's wrong with you? You are pale. She says, oh, I want you to tell me the truth. I said, okay. Do you know Ceausescu, the president? He was the country dictator, the president. Do you know Ceausescu? I said, yep, I see him on the TV every day. No, not from the TV. You and him, are you buddies, friends? Me and the president, buddies, huh? No, sure not. Do you have anybody in the government? I said, no. Do you know anybody in the government? I said, lady, all I know about government, when I don't have money to buy flowers for my wife, I go in front of the government palace. There are thousands of roses. I break a rose for free, and I give my wife a flower. That's all the government I know. The lady says, you tell me that you don't know the president. Yep. And she says, there is a God. I said, I told you. But tell me why. She says, the president spoke on the TV today in the morning. Didn't you watch? I said, no. In my mind, he talks 24/7. He's always there on the TV. Why would I watch him? But anyway. And she said, the president gave a law today. He said, we want to save the economy, so from today on, in the whole country, all schools will be closed on Saturdays. No school would have heat and power or anything, and that would save so much money. And if this law came next week, you would be out. Why in the world would he give that law today, Friday, before tomorrow when you would be expelled? And I said to the lady, I said, because he loves me. And he says in Isaiah, because I love you, I give nations for you. So folks, listen carefully. When you put God first, above your school, above your job, above your whatever, above your health, and you make that decision before you know the answer, It's easy to make a decision after the problem is solved. But when you step in faith and put your foot in Jordan, before you know the answer, in faith, you make him first. You honor him. God is going to honor you big time. And because we are so focused on self, God cannot work.